Hey guys, hope you all are doing well. I'm doing well myself. This is the video that I was promising you guys about cartooning. We've gone through a lot of stuff. We've gone through pain and heartache. No, that's another class. We went through traditional drawing, all the Loomis heads, and then caricaturing, and also just in what seemed interminable warm-ups with a bunch of circles and relaxing your arm. Cartooning, not a whole lot of like art classes will have, this kind of stuff in it. But I just think, introductory drawing should have it in it. It's a really neat skill to have. And I love drawing and all kinds of drawing. So there is really like, and everybody knows about cartooning. You know what it looks like when you see it. There's not one single way of cartooning anything, obviously. Everyone has different styles. There's different styles of drawing eyes and bodies and everything like that. So what I'm going to try to do is try to break down just a little bit and just give you some ideas and ways of perceiving, thank you, clone, and of perceiving the world, or looking at what you're looking at, peeking behind the curtain a little bit of cartooning. One of the guys that I often show at my in my animation class is this guy named Alan Becker, and he does this video about the 12 principles of animation. So in it, there's some really neat stuff, and I think this is particularly applicable to cartooning. So if we look at this video here, or this image here, he talks about appeal, which is his last principle of animation. And so appeal doesn't necessarily mean it's something that's pretty or likable, but it's rather just kind of interesting to look at. And everybody has, like I said, their own style. There's just countless styles. And he said that everyone has a different standard for it, but what you can do is give your character a dynamic design, which can boost its appeal. So if we look here at some more, you can see here that these are just some very simple shapes. They're just rectangles, and the characters are inside of it. It's still cartooning, but you can add a little bit of appeal to these characters. If you take these characters over here and you just start messing with them, give them different proportions, change the body types around, it's really fun to see all the things that you can do to change it. And there's no limit to it except for your own imagination. So we can see here the kind of the shapes that he used, and a lot of cartooning is just, thinking about simple shapes. You can also take characters that have a particular intention, and you could just make them more exaggerated. So you can exaggerate them on, hunched over, small and cute, intimidating and serious. Another thing that Becker talks about is excessive detail. So if you're doing something that's like an animation, you're going to be drawing that over like thousands of times, and you would not really want to draw this over 1,000 times. That would just make you go insane. So you have to choose things that you want to draw, simplify it, a little bit like caricaturing. Just find out what things are just, really most important. He also talks about that, with the idea of choosing things which are most important. These three characters he drew, and he wanted to show how you could just exaggerate them, make them more something, just give them more appeal. So if you take this one character here, you can see there's a kingly guy over there, make him more regal, just give him some absurd kind of proportion. The robot over there, choose what shapes are interesting, and then exaggerate those and play around with it, and you get something a little bit more simple and more interesting to look at. This little fishing guy, he's funny, but he's kind of standard. But give him just some extra exaggeration, and it will really appeal quite a lot. So in terms of like body shape, there's also other things that you can choose. If you just, make some, do a simple search, you can find some interesting body shapes, do some interesting shapes in general. This is one I found off the internet that I also show in my character modeling class. That people forget, you can exaggerate these body shapes. People often tend to make it more realistic than they need to be. And you can see very triangles and a mixture of a bunch of shapes. There's just all kinds of things that you could do. So let's see here. There's some other things I wanted to show when it comes to characters. I wanted to show the evolution of certain character styles. In particular, you could see everybody knows about, hopefully, they know about Garfield. I found it more interesting when it was early, but you can see how Garfield evolved from a very kind of raw character to something that had some, what it was going to become, and then it got more and more refined, and even started adding shadows to it. So there's a lot of different ways of drawing, like I said. You can even there's one illustrator that is one of my absolute favorites, and his name is Don Hertzfeld, and he's made a living out of making characters like this. And if you get a chance to see his animations, just look for Rejected Cartoon, and it's just really, really funny. So I'll show you some other cartooning types. Here's a good one. We have, this is what The Simpsons originally looked like. And yeah, I was around to see the first cartoon of The Simpsons on the Tracy Ullman show. So yeah, they looked like this early on. And then he evolved his style to be more like this. So a lot more refined, very dynamic. So really neat stuff. And there's, like I said, different styles. This is a political cartoonist, actually a friend of the family. I met him, very interesting, somewhat grumpy guy, but, really cool. He is an excellent illustrator. You can see over here the cross-hatching. This is a really neat style of cross-hatching. And he kind of mixed cartooning with caricaturing. And he did this for decades and worked at the Los Angeles Times. Other illustrators or cartoonists you might want to know about. Oh, this is a GIF. This is very funny. This is Edward Gorey. And he looks like he's from 100 years ago, but that was just his style. So just all black and white. And as you can see from this, gory and dark. So it's very, very fun. Another cartoonist whom I really like a lot is Burke Breathed, or Berkeley Breathed. He did a cartoon called Bloom County, and it started off, I think, in the 80s. He quit and then went back to it. But you can see, and this is another thing I want to talk about, is each cartoonist has their own way of doing certain parts of the face. Like there's different eyes, they'll have their nose, and they just consciously choose that they just how they're going to do these certain things and are consistent with them. And you can see Burke Breathed's like signature eyes, the dot with kind of these parentheses around them. Tank Girl, I don't know if anyone's ever seen that comic. This could be cartooning or comic drawing. There's a lot of different ways of, like I said, drawing. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of Outland. The Far Side, that's what it was. He wasn't the greatest illustrator, but his puns, his humor was hilarious. And I read an interview with him, and he said his brother was a lot more funny. But that's hard to imagine somebody that funny. Let's see what else we have here. Some other examples are some of my cartooning. This just silly things, just very simple, a little bit dark but fun, and then stuff for a video game that I've worked on. You can see I have, in this one, I have very particular style of eyes that I'm doing. But you'll also notice that in these, and I've talked about it before, is outlines. And outlining is really, I can't stress that enough. Is outlining. You can avoid outlining if it's that particular style, but the really important part of outlining is that it really shows you what you're looking at. It enables the viewer to see things a little bit clearer, and it pops out. It gives you. It said on the internet there that thicker outlines are generally preferred for emphasizing edges of objects and creating a sense of depth and separation. And some can get away with thin. This was a cartoon, end of a cartoon that I did of some people that I knew in San Francisco, and a little bit of wish fulfillment. But yeah, it's pretty funny. Very simple style here, you can see, and very thick outlines, a little bit wobbly. This could also be considered cartooning. You can see the thick outlines that are exaggerating the proportion of the character. Other cartoons that I've done. This is for a play that I think I had been in other versions of it, and this little one I did with ink and watercolor of my mother's imaginary friends, Dego and Toast. So, fun stuff. Outlines also, let's look at Invader Zim. Invader Zim is a fantastic example for outlines. You can see just the real thick outlines. It's very stylistic. It has a lot of hardness to it, and a lot of very bright, different colors. So, another thing that's also really important is gesture. And you can see here in this character that this person has a lot of, you can see the flow of the character. There's a lot of flow. It has this relaxed feel to it. This character has a really interesting body type, super exaggerated. You can see there's some good thick outlines to it. Also, you can do some really quick drawings of characters. So Pixar would do things like this. I think this is an actual Pixar sketch of some characters, and they were just getting body types to figure out what it was, what their characters were going to look like. And more Pixar. Here you can see in this one, this uses a animation technique called squash and stretch. So if the character's like pulling up or like going like this, you're going to exaggerate his head, stretching up. If he's a little bit scared or he's down like this, he's gonna be squashed down like the one with his hands over here. It's all exaggeration, and exaggeration is fun. Don't let the truth get in the way of a good story, as I would say my grandmother would do. Calvin and Hobbes is I met Burke Breathed in Berkeley once, funny enough. And he was good friends with Sam Watterson, who did Calvin and Hobbes. And he said Watterson loved cartooning. It was just his thing. Burke Breathed was somewhat ambivalent about it. But you can just see it in Calvin and Hobbes in his drawing. And you can see also the cross hatching that he's doing, the hatching over here, a little bit like Conrad. You can see some shading over here, and you can also see really, really thick outlines and the exaggeration, the stretch of the mother after he bites her on the leg. So there's just so much that you can do. All right. So aside from that, what I'd like you to do is just experiment. I know a lot of you guys have your own style, and I hope that the stuff that we've been going through has helped to evolve it and just discover new things about how to draw. And what I'd like you guys to do is just play around with some ideas about characters, about their eyes. Draw some people. Draw different people. I used to do all kinds of like fun things in order to find characters. I'd like to see 2 pages, 2 big pages filled with cartoon characters. A couple things I used to do, just last little thoughts. When I'd go out to dinner with some friends, I would do what I called squiggle characters. And they were just kind of fun in that I'd just take a squiggle like that and I'd look at it and I'd be like, how could I turn this into a character? And, I made something, kind of silly, not really of any great artistic merit. But then I'd take that squiggle and be like, oh, hey, look, this looks like a nose. I could do that. And then these look like teeth. And this could be an eye. And a big jutting forehead. This is really fast, obviously. Sometimes when I was at LucasArts, I'd come up with, I'd see somebody and I'd draw a portrait, and sometimes they would know that I was doing it, and which was often a little embarrassing. What could I do out of this one? There we go. So, very simple drawing. So, a lot of fun. Then, what I did once, and this was a fun little thing. I took, I remember I had spit on the ground once, and then I was like, whoa, I could see some characters in that. So I took my phone out and I took a picture of it, brought it into the computer, and I started drawing characters around that. I tried to find it on my hard drive and I can't find it, but you can turn anything into a cartoon. So you're only limited by your imagination. Isn't that inspiring? So that's it. Just play around, see what you can come up with. Try something new. Try some different kinds of eyes. Look on the internet and see how different eyes are drawn. Especially try to draw some funny, different shaped people. Give them a nice different design, and exaggerate the hell out of it. And remember to do the thick outlines. This thick outlines, where do you draw them? Where do you not draw them? I often draw them outside of the character, or anything that will be able to make it a little bit more clear. So, and of course, have a lot of fun and enjoy it. And I'll see you guys on Monday.